Hey YouTube land, Tycounter is here doing another action figure review. Now this is something I didn't really expect to pick up over here. I had seen it on the Smith's website, but I have never seen it in store. And it kind of disappeared from the Smith's website then, so I didn't think they were going to get in at all. So what it is the Batman Missions True Moves 12-inch scale figures from Batman, obviously, and this is the villain known as Scarecrow, aka Dr. Jonathan Crane. So if you're not familiar with the character, he's basically if I remember correctly, his background story, he was basically a psychologist who dabbled in kind of fear toxins and stuff like that, trying to find out what caused people to see their greatest fears, and then he kind of goes crazy himself and ends up dousing people with his fear toxin to basically, make them go crazy or see what their greatest fears are and stuff like that. So he's a pretty cool character. He's been depicted a few times in different kind of live action things. Most recently he was in the Gotham TV series where he had a look kind of similar to this, and he was also in the Christopher Nolan Batman trilogy, the Dark Knight and Dark Knight was it Dark Knight Begins, or Batman Begins, Dark Knight Rises, I think the second one. He was briefly in that one. So here he is sporting his slightly iconic look of a, as they say, Scarecrow. But before I get on to that, I'll just do a quick view of the box. So you have the Batman Missions logo, and then you have Batman 80 Years. You have an image of the figure. It's more of a 3D rendering of the figure. Same with the side of the box, you have a 3D rendering. On the back is artwork of Batman in a kind of bat suit with a gas mask attachment on it and kind of harness, facing off against Scarecrow. And then on the opposite side shows where the points of articulation are, and then just other kind of images. Now these aren't images of the actual figure per se, they're images of the 3D 3D rendering of the figure. But you get to see what the figure is like. So just before I go on to the figure, I'll do a quick size. So he stands just under 1 foot, which is 12 inches. So he's just a hair shy of the 12-inch mark. And for articulation, he's quite articulated. Now, these figures don't have any waist articulation. At least none of the previous ones have, and this guy seems to be the same. He has paint apps for the front of him that just goes around the front. They didn't paint the back, mainly because he has this kind of slightly more rubberized jacket on, which also has the stitching on it as well, which is quite nice. You can see it has similar stitching that's on his uniform. He has elbows that can do a 90-degree bend. He has swivel in the wrists. He has hinge joints in the shoulders. They can go out that much. They don't tend to go any further than that. You can swivel all the way around. He does have the head. It is slightly ball jointed, so there is a little bit of wiggle with it. This piece is actually separate, the hangman's noose. So it is a separate piece. If you were able to pop the head off, you'd probably be able to remove it. His legs can go out that much. Now his leg here is pretty stiff, so he can do splits that much. For that much into a seated position, single joint in the knee. No, he does have tiny feet actually, I will note that. I'm not sure if you can see it on the camera, but proportion wise he seems to have tiny little feet. And he can't go really back because of the way the pants are sculpted on the figure. I love the head sculpt. Let me see if we can bring it in closer there. You can see the eyes, they're done in a really nice kind of green, but they're also kind of really glossy. He doesn't have too many paint apps. I mean, most of his paint apps are on the head part, that slight paint app that's on his waist. His arms then have the paint apps for the ropes on these arms, and then you have the stitching which isn't painted. So he's pretty plain compared to some of the other figures in regards to paint apps. So just get a brief villain showcase. Here he is with the Mr. Freeze figure, and here he is with Joker. Now this is one of the I think this was the 3-pack Joker. So this came with Robin, Batman and Joker, whereas the standard single card one is a all black tuxedo. And then just for one more size comparison, we'll bring in the man of the hour himself. Now this one's been slightly customized by myself, Batman. So the only thing I really did was I just gave him a bit of a wash around the face area with the exposed face under the cowl, just give him a bit more human look to him, because he was all just kind of a one-tone plastic. So I gave him a little bit of a wash just to kind of spruce him up a bit. But other than that, I don't think, did I do anything with the eyes? No, I think I left the eyes as is. But I just gave him a little bit of sprucing up, so you can see the height. He does seem to stand a little bit taller than Batman. You can see his shoulders are quite higher than Batman's, which is interesting enough. But all in all, he's a really cool figure. So if you can find them, I do recommend picking these guys up. They do tend to be a lot better than the Titan series, which is the Hasbro kind of stuff. Both Jazzwares and Hasbro could take notes from these guys. It would be nice. I've seen Jazzware have done 12-inch or 11.5-inch, whichever way you want to call it, 12-inch figures for Fortnite, but unfortunately they're very similar to the Hasbro stuff, the Titan series, like the Marvel Legends, or not even Marvel Legends, the Marvel Titan series, where they're just giant 5 points of articulation figures. In most cases, some don't even have the full 5 points of articulation, as far as I've seen in some cases. So they are a bit disappointing. If Hasbro took a cue from Mattel on these, they could do way better. Even the Star Wars figures were better back in the day, and now the larger figures went into that Titan series and became giant versions of the 5 points. Well, not giant, taller versions of the 5-point articulated figures, which I do have some, but I don't have any at hand just to show you. Case, but it was slightly getting off track. Scarecrow here is a great looking figure. You could go all out and customize him, because he does have like stuff that you could really paint up, I'd say. Especially with the stitching, you could probably give him a couple of washes, put some stitching, and then paint the silver for the jacket, because he has zips going down either side, and you can see there's stitching all over the back, so you could really go to town making this guy custom, and maybe do boots, custom paint the boots and the knee guards, because they all are the one brown plastic on them, but he would look really cool with some customized paint work, I'd say. So there you go, guys. Just a quick video review for the Batman Mission Scarecrow. He's a great figure. If you can pick him up, I do recommend picking him up. But these guys are usually around the $10 to $12 price point, so I wouldn't pay more than that for him. If you're paying more than that, you're kind of being root. But if you can get him, do get him. And as I say in my videos, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Hope you enjoyed this. Cheers.